Welcome back to part 2 of how to find fish in the pond during the autumn transition. Right now, you wouldn't know it's autumn at all. It's a balmy 74 degrees right now. The wind was really strong about maybe an hour ago, so I kind of penned up here in the shallows. I'm in 3 foot of water, and I'm getting some crappies. I'm getting some bluegills, and once you find the trees, you find the wood, such as that. Find the wood, you'll find the fish for sure, especially if there's a little bit of water there. That's it's about 4 foot right there, and I'm casting pretty far so I don't spook the fish. And I did the old paddle trick as an anchor, you know, got it anchored in, stuck it down in the sand and the mud, and doesn't take much, a little bobber and a stinger and a little bit of jigging like so, and I'm on some fish. When you're having trouble finding them, I'm gonna try to help you, see if I can give you some tips to help you find them. So stay tuned. Oh, that's a bass. Thought we had a big old crappie on there. Can't hit that little jig. It's pretty wild when a bass eats your hair jig. Look how small that is compared to his mouth. A little 1.5-pound fish. Chunky. Not bad. I'll take him. He's pretty. He's a handsome little dude. Handsome bass. I guess that's okay to say. All right, there's a good indication of what we got here is dying spatter dock. We got some wood. Definitely a bunch of fish should be around in this little area. Even though it is kind of shallow, it's only 3 foot, but it's warm. It's 2 degrees warmer here than right around the corner. That is a lot of vegetation. All those little reds, see how I'm going up 1 to 2 to 3, back down to 2, and just bouncing all around. It's just because there's so much weed still here in this pond. This one is a shallower of the ponds that I fish. As you can see, it's pretty shallow. I'm out in the middle of the pond, and it is bouncing all around. All right, guys, here's another tip for you. If you're fishing shallow water, you know, 4 foot or less, which is most of these mill ponds that I'm fishing, generally average about 3 to 4 feet. When you're up on the fish and it's a big school fish and you're throwing a bobber that's, you know, weighted and about this size, sometimes it's too big. And what's going on, like this one here, like I was throwing, this one is actually just a tad bit smaller than I'm throwing now. See if I can put this in comparison real quick here. See the difference there? It's about 1/4 of the size, and it definitely makes a difference on that splash. The weight of it is a little bit is what's causing that splash in the diameter of that bobber. So I'm only fishing about 20 feet, maybe 25 feet away from where my kayak's anchored out, and I'm telling you, it's making a huge difference. I will catch a few fish and then they'll spook off and I'll have to come back to them. But I just caught a nice red ear, which I didn't get on camera, but I didn't even know they were in here, which is really cool. Shell crackers for you guys down south. So stay tuned. Hopefully that tip helps. Time for one more fish here, guys. It's been a decent day, not a great day, but it beats working, that's for sure. So when you're fishing these ponds during this time of year, just trial and error. I mean, sometimes the fish are up on the shoreline like they were today because it was so warm the last few days. But if it starts getting cold, they will definitely start pushing down and going a little deeper. We just missed that fish. It was definitely a bluegill. Definitely would go deeper and just, you know, try to find that dying vegetation because it definitely gives off a lot of heat. And the fish are trying to stay a little warm. Even though it's not cold yet, it's getting cold. When the nights are starting to dip into the 30s and water temperature was down in the 50s, and right now it's about 60 degrees, so it's warmed up a good amount, you know, in the past couple of days, just from these last warm days. And it's definitely changed where the fish are. Normally this time of year we're catching them either on the wood like I'm doing right now in a little bit deeper water, but also out in the middle of the pond along the edges of where the weeds are dying off. So we're catching them at the edge of where the weed is dying off and in the wood. And if you can find bridges, they're also a good bet. You know, I know a lot of the reservoirs like Liberty and Loch Raven around here in Maryland, the crappie get suspended right there underneath of those bridges this time of year, and man, you can really pull them in, or pull them up, I should say, if you're fishing on top of the bridge. But trying to catch one more for you guys. Probably a big old gill if I had to guess. The crappie just don't want to bite today. All right, one more. Come on, give me one more. Give me one more. There we go. That'll be one. What I see happen a lot is when people come and fish these small, shallow ponds, is they spook the fish before they can get on a good amount of them. When you're in shallow water like I am right now, I mean, you can see the bottom right here. It's 2 feet of water, literally 2 feet of water, and that tree where I'm fishing at is about 4 foot. So even though it's 4 foot deep and I'm fishing about 2.5, 3 foot with the bobber, that bobber makes a heck of a splash and it spooks them. So what I like to do when I'm fishing relatively close to where I can throw a 64th ounce hair jig, 64 ounces, very small. When I can throw that without a bobber, I'm going to do it, and you'll catch more because you'll feel the bite quicker and you can set the hook a lot faster. So I'm going to take this bobber off now and try to get closer to that tree and see if I can get a bite. They scared them from the tree, I guess, or gave them all sore lips over there. There we go. Finally. And I think it might be a crappie. I don't think it's swimming sideways like it is. It's a nice crappie too. That's a good way to end the day. That's a good way to end the day. Not a big one. Not a small one. This is an average size crappie. Big enough to eat if you were going to eat them. That's for sure. But you know how you always say, let them go, let them grow. You know, you can't end on that when you catch a fish on that and it's a crappie. So just try to get one more. Just try to get one more out there. So bang it right there. Come on, fish. One more cast, for real this time. Isn't that what we always say? One more cast. There we go. Got a little bit of a paddle. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's go. Let's go, fish. Let's go, fish. Ah, missed on. I suck again.